crop. Pesticides cling to leaves and are absorbed through the skin. 8 million pounds of pesticides are used annually on grapes, even though they can be grown commercially without these dangerous chemicals. 1/3 of the pesticides used on grapes are known to cause cancer. Some are so toxic that they affect workers entering fields weeks after spraying. 32-year-old Juan Chaboya began working in a San Diego County field an hour after it was sprayed with the deadly pesticide Monitor. There were no warning signs posted. He collapsed in the field and died before he could receive medical attention. Pesticides are also dangerous to the children of farm workers. Salvador de Anda followed his father into the fields. His mother, Alicia, worked in the grape fields during her pregnancy. On Salvador's 9th birthday, doctors told his mother that he has inoperable cancer.
My whole world just crumbled down.
Alicia de Anda blames pesticides. Salvador doesn't think about blame. He just wants to be a normal boy.
I went to school and then they started making fun of me.
Other children wouldn't play with him because they were afraid of getting cancer. It's hard for Salvador to talk about it. Francisco Larios' daughter, Amalia, was born with a piece of her spine missing. Amalia is 4 years old. Despite many operations, she will never walk. Her parents are convinced that pesticides are at fault. Her mother worked in the fields sprayed with deadly chemicals during her first months of pregnancy.
If I would have known this would happen, I would have never, worked in the fields or anything, but you never know.
5-year-old Felipe Franco was born without arms or legs. His mother, Ramona, worked in the grape fields until she was in her 8th month of pregnancy. She was exposed to Captan, one of the pesticides United Farm Workers wants banned. The California Department of Agriculture found residues of Captan and 10 other pesticides on grapes they sampled.
EPA had registered approximately 50,000 pesticide products prior to the establishment of the newer requirements. So we're talking roughly about 50,000 different pesticide products would have to be reassessed. The way the legislation is written, those chemicals will remain on the market until EPA makes a judgment as to whether or not they should be re-registered. We may be talking about another 30 years before we reach that point with some of those chemicals. They're beginning to find chemicals that the data indicates may very well be carcinogenic.
There is a balancing act where the agency can look at the risks, the benefits, and then balance the two and make a judgment about what level of risk we will accept.
But see, who get the risk? The risks are given to the consumer, the unsuspecting consumer, and the poor workforce. And who gets the benefits? The benefits are only for the corporation, for the money makers.
Pesticides, in terms of any health risks to the consumer, we're talking more chronic exposure, long-term, lifetime's exposure. Now, whether these exposures at these low levels will result in cancer, as far as I know, there hasn't been any study that has demonstrated, yes, in fact, they are causing cancer. But also, there's no study that's been conducted that says they haven't.
And as far as like long-term effects and birth defects and cancer-causing effects, do we have most of this data available, or that's also missing data?
Unfortunately, for many of the old chemicals, that is a problem, that a lot of the effects data are missing, or it's still in the process of being evaluated, and I think that's what's got the environmentalists concerned.
Only a portion of sprayed pesticides reach their target. The rest drift out of control, often for miles. Pesticides can also seep into underground water supplies, threatening neighboring communities.
I didn't think anything of it. I was very naive, and I've learned the hard way. Our children drank contaminated, poisoned pesticide water for 5 years without their knowledge, without their parents' knowledge, at school. And this was allowed to go on for 5 years. When you see them spraying now, you cringe, because you don't know, a lot of them, the sprays that they use, they don't know the health effects for. There are gaps in that information, and here we're using it as an aid. And it shouldn't be used as an aid to agriculture till you know exactly what the health effects, long-term health effects are going to be. Don't use the future generations as guinea pigs.
In town after town in California's extensive Central Valley, children are being stricken with cancer. Pesticides are suspected. People are afraid of what's in their water, afraid to eat the fruit that's grown around them, afraid to let their children play in schoolyards near fields. The town of Fowler is surrounded by thousands of acres of grape fields. In this tiny community, 7 children have cancer. The town of Early-Mart is also surrounded by grape fields. Here, the child cancer rate is 1,200% above the national average. In the same vast table grape region lies McFarland. Here, 16 children have been stricken with cancer. 8 have already died.